Hello everyone and welcome to Infinity Concepts. We are in the 7th chapter of financial reporting and analysis. So we are almost midway and we will be learning about the inventories today. So let us see what is there in store in this particular chapter. We have already done a little bit in the previous chapters during income statement, during balance sheet. We have done a little bit about inventories, and now we will be going into deep as to what all is the expense recognition method and valuation and what is LIFO, what is FIFO and so on. So let us see what all things are we going to see in this chapter. We will be seeing different inventory costing methods. I guess we have done this thing, right? We have done this, and we will just be taking an overview as to what it is. Inventory expense recognition method, which is your LIFO, FIFO, weighted average, specific identification and so on. This is what we will be doing over here. Impact of inflation and deflation. So whichever method you are using, according to that, what is the impact when there is inflation and when there is deflation. So what impact will it have on two things, on the COGS and on the inventory valuation, that is on the inventory. So these are the two things that we will be seeing. Okay, so impact of inflation and deflation, very important. Okay, very important, this particular thing. A sum on this does come because this is the place where the examiner can twist and turn and give you a difficult question. They can create a difficult question when they add inflation and deflationary periods and so on. No doubt we will be learning it very well, so you do not have to take much tension. What is LIFO reserve and LIFO liquidation? So those companies who are using LIFO method will have to compulsorily show LIFO reserve in their financial statements. So what is that LIFO reserve and what is LIFO liquidation is what we are going to learn. And then valuation of inventories, we have done cost or NRV, whichever is lower, like that we had done, right? Same thing we are going to look over here. Well, so let us start with the chapter. Inventory costing as per standard costing. Remember, there was another costing method which is known as retail costing. The retail costing is something which the retailers use, those who do not manufacture goods. Now we are going to look at the standard costing, wherein we are going to manufacture the goods, and those manufacturers are going to take out or calculate the cost of a particular good. If, say for example, pen is the good, okay, or the product, then what is the value as per standard costing method? Okay. So let us go through what it is. We already done it. Okay. So I am not going to delve into much detail. During this subject only we have done it. So product cost is included, period cost is excluded. What are the product costs? So purchase cost, which is your raw material cost, conversion cost, which is your labor cost, pre-allocated fixed overheads, which means the fixed overheads which are considered as if the standard production units are taken into consideration. When we take the example later on, we will understand what this is. Pre-allocated fixed overheads, say for example fixed overheads are 10,000 and you have the capacity to produce 10 goods, then per unit the fixed overhead is 1000. Now in reality, if you are producing only 7 goods, then your allocation will be 7,000, 7 into 1000, 7,000. If in case you are very efficient and you produce 12 goods in that particular month, then 12 into 1000, 12,000 is going to be your fixed overheads that you will be charging on your goods that you are making. Okay. So this is what your amount is going to be. In reality, the cash outflow for the whatever the fixed rentals or whatever the fixed overheads are going to be 10,000. But we are just talking about what costing we should give to this particular pen. For that we will be considering either 7,000 or 12,000, whatever be the number of units that are generated. Okay. And cost to bring the inventory to the current location, which means freight inwards. Okay. When you want to bring raw materials to your current location, the freight or the costs that are involved to bring that raw material to the current location, that will be included. Now what will not be included? Admin, selling and distribution overheads, storage cost, abnormal wastage, unallocated fixed overheads. Over here we saw that 7,000 was the allocated fixed overheads. Out of 10,000, reality this is the 10,000 as the fixed overheads, but 7,000 only got allocated. What will you do about the rest 3,000? This 3,000 will not get allocated because it is a period cost. Okay. So unallocated fixed overheads will not get into consideration. And then abnormal wastage, storage cost, admin, selling and distribution overheads and so on. So, this is what our inventory based standard costing is. Now, we will go into detail in the next question. Okay. So, let us see what is the question. So, the question is the cost incurred during the year. Okay, they have given a list of what all the costs have been included. So, the raw material cost is 25,000, trade discount is 10%, conversion cost is 40,000, rent for the factory they have given us 35,000 flat rent, it is a fixed overhead. Okay, fixed cost is 35,000 per annum, freight inward is 1800, storage cost of finished goods, storage cost of finished goods is 4,500, abnormal wastage is 2,500 and freight outwards is 1,100. Okay, they have given production details in units. Okay, what are they? Actual units produced are 5,000, but the standard capacity to produce are 7,000 units, but you are maybe less efficient or you are not producing that many goods. You have kept your factory closed for a few days and therefore the production would have fallen down. Anything can be the reason. So, we do not care what is the reason, the only thing is we know that the standard capacity was 7,000, but you produced only 5,000, correct. Now, what are they asking? Calculate the total cost and cost per unit of the finished goods. So, let us see what it is. So, what all things are we going to include? All the product cost are going to be included. So, raw material cost is 25,000. So, let us include 25,000. Then trade discount, they are giving us a discount of 2,500 which is 10%. So, just reduce that. Conversion cost, which is your labor cost of 40,000, that will be included. Now, rent for the factory is 35,000 per annum. This is a fixed overhead. What do we have to include? We have to include what is written over here, pre-allocated fixed overheads. So, what are the pre-allocated fixed overheads? So, at the beginning of the year when you came to know that 35,000 is the cost or rent, okay, this is the rent that you are going to pay and you know that your standard capacity is 7,000. So, per unit the cost that you are incurring is 5, per unit of goods that you will be producing, per unit fixed overhead of rent is going to be 5. Now, in reality how many units are you producing? You are producing 5,000 units only. So, 5 multiplied by 5,000 will get allocated, which is 25,000 over here, right. So, 5 is how have you calculated 5? By taking into consideration the standard capacity which is 7,000. So, 35,000 divided by 7,000 into 5,000 is what is the real number of units that you have produced, that you will have to multiply over here and therefore, you will get 25,000, correct. And then the freight inwards is 1,800 and storage cost of finished goods is 4,500. Do we have to mention this? Will 4,500 come? Storage cost of finished goods is not going to come. Abnormal wastage 2,500, will it come? It will not come 2,500. Freight outwards is 1,100, will it come? It will not come 1,100. Okay. So, this is what your total cost is going to be. Okay. Cost of production. So, your cost of production is this, just take into consideration 25,000 minus 2,500, 22,500 plus 40,000 plus 25,000 plus 1,800 comes to 89,300. This is what your first question is. What is the total cost? Your total cost is 89,300. Now, they are asking what is the cost per unit of finished goods. So, how many goods have you finished? How many finished goods are there with you? Actual units produced are 5,000 and therefore, divide this by 5,000 and therefore, what is this? 89,300 divided by 5,000 gives you 17.86. 17.86 is the cost per unit of fixed goods. Okay. This is the cost per unit of fixed goods. This is what you will be considering in the calculation, correct. Understood everyone? What is cost of goods sold? Cost of goods sold will be based on this particular unit that you have calculated 17.86. We will come to what is COGS, cost of goods sold. So, everyone understood what is the cost that we have taken. Remember two things, while you are calculating the fixed overheads that you have taken out over here, you will divide it by the standard capacity, which is 7,000, correct, and how much will of that get absorbed? Multiply by 5,000 when you do, that is what is getting absorbed. Out of 35,000 fixed rent that you have paid, unfortunately only 25,000 has come over here and got included in your total calculation of the cost, okay, but this is what you will have to live with it, right. And the second thing is, when you divide over here by 5,000, which is the actual units produced, you get 17.86 as the cost per unit of finished goods, correct. Now we will move ahead, okay. The next one says inventory expense recognition, okay. Inventory expense recognition, how are you going to recognize the expense, okay, which means how are you going to distinguish between COGS and inventory, okay. So what does it say? There are 4 methods used for inventory costing and expense recognition. The first one is specific identification, the second one is FIFO, which is first in first out, the third one is LIFO, which is last in first out, and the fourth one is weighted average cost, okay. So these are the 4 things. IFRS does not allow LIFO, correct. So if you are doing IFRS calculation, okay, then you will be having only specific identification, FIFO and weighted average to be there for your calculation purposes. You can use any of them out of the 3, okay. Whichever one you use, you will have to consistently use for all the periods. However, if you are changing, then we know that we will have to make a retrospective impact if you are changing from, say for example, FIFO to weighted average cost. If you are changing it, then you will have to make a retrospective impact. This is what we have learnt, okay. Now this is as per IFRS. US GAAP, apart from these 3 methods, it is also allowing a 4th method, which is LIFO, which is last in first out. Now this is something interesting. Why LIFO is allowed by US? That is your US GAAP, because there are going to be certain benefits, and when we come to that portion of learning LIFO, we will come to know what is the benefits that LIFO is holding, because of which people have been allowed to take LIFO method, okay. So let us understand all the 4 types of methods, okay. Let us understand one by one. Just understand one thing, it is important to understand the impact of inflation and deflation on different expense recognition methods of inventory. Now remember, whatever we are doing over here, okay, specific identification or FIFO or LIFO or weighted average cost method, whatever, okay, out of the 4 methods whatever we are using, one thing is common, we have brought the cost per unit of goods, we have brought the cost from standard costing or retail cost method, whatever, we have brought the cost from that costing method. Now how are we going to do the expense recognition is going to be included over here. Now we are going to come into the expense recognition, okay. So let me take you to the explanation. First remember, okay, say for example one good you have manufactured in the month of April, okay. In the month of April you produced 5, remember the previous sum that we had done, the previous sum that we just did right now 2 minutes back, the sum that we did, wherein the standard capacity was 7,000 units, but we produced only 5,000 units, right. This is what we did, and the total cost was 89,300 and cost per unit of production was 17.86, right. 17.86 was the price or cost of one particular unit of inventory, right. Now that is what the costing that we did per unit. If say for example only 1 unit was produced, just as an example, okay, there were 5,000 units, but for our example purpose over here we are using 1 unit only. Just as an example, if 1 unit is produced, the cost of which is 17.86 in the month of April, just as an example, April. In the month of May again you produced 1 unit, at this point of time your cost of goods sold, now I will take some better numbers, okay, 20. And the next time it was the goods that you produced was 25, the next time you produced was 24 or 26, just as an example, right. So what you take over here, how has this number come up? This number has come up through standard costing, right. So this number that you are seeing over here, that has come up through standard costing as to in the month of April how many goods you produced and what was the cost of that. In the month of May, how many goods that you produced and what was the cost of that. In the month of June, how many goods you produced? 1 unit. What is the cost of that 1 unit of goods? It is 25, right. This is how we have done. So now we are going to learn in detail all the 4 methods, which is specific identification, FIFO, LIFO and your weighted average cost method. So shall we go ahead? This is something important that we are doing, and a question, not just one question, many questions on inventories may come up in examination, and we should be on our fingertips when we do this particular sum. Okay. So let us go ahead with all the 4 methods. Fine. So let us see. Specific identification. In specific identification, what are we going to see? Say for example, you have produced 1 unit at 8. Just as an example, we took 17.86 last time. The same way, 1 unit we have produced at 8. The next unit that we produced, the cost of that was 9. Then the next unit that we produced, the cost of that was 10, and the next unit that we produced, the cost of that was 11. Okay. Now how are we going to do? Specific identification method. What is that method for? It is not for costing, it is for expense recognition. For costing we had done standard costing and we came at this number. We came at 17.86, 8, 9, 10, this is how we came up, right. So I am not talking about costing, I am talking about the expense recognition. So what is the expense recognition? Let us see. Expense recognition means what? Expense recognition is, say for example, this is specific identification is what we are learning. So specific identification means the owner or the storekeeper is able to specifically identify which goods have been sold. Say for example, there are automobiles. Okay. An automobile is a car. A car is something, every car has a chassis number, right. A number is given to it, the engine number or a chassis number is given to every car. Now if you sell a particular car, out of 100 cars you will definitely know which car have you sold out of 100. Whether you have sold this particular car which you made it in the month of April, or the one that you manufactured in May, that is the one that you sold. Which have you sold, that is clearly identifiable when there is chassis number or any specific identification that is there. And therefore when we are going to sell a particular product or the goods, we exactly know which good we have sold. Just as an example, say for example, we have sold this particular good. Okay, this particular identification number 3, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3 and this is number 4. These have been labeled. We have sold car which is labeled as 3, I know that, and when this specific identification is allowed or it is identifiable thing that you have sold, then this is the method that we usually use. Specific identification, the COGS, that is the cost of goods that is sold. We would have sold this car for, say for example, 20. I have sold this car for 20, but what is the cost behind that? The cost is 10, because I have made a specific identification. I know that I have sold car number 3, and the car number 3 was actually the cost of that car was 10. I have sold it for 20 is a different thing. So in my P&L account, the sales is going to be 20 for sure, and the cost of goods sold is going to be 10. What is going to be the inventory? The inventory is going to be 11 plus 9, 20 plus 8, 28. 28 is going to be the inventory in my books. Inventory will be 28, correct? I hope you all are understanding what we have done. This is your specific identification, correct? Now coming to next one, which is FIFO. What happens in a FIFO? In a FIFO, the name itself is saying first in, first out, FIFO, first in, first out. The first which comes in is the first one to go out. So, who has come first over here? 8 has come first over here. The first goods that we produced at 8. The second good that we produced at $9. The third one at $10 and the fourth one at $11. Which is the first one to come in? 8 is the first one. So, now say for example, after 4 months I could sell one car in the market. Okay? I was very lucky. After 4 cars that I produced, I could sell one car. Okay? Or at say for example 31st of December has arrived and we are closing the books. At this point of time we have sold one car in the last date. Okay? Or in the end we have sold one car. If we have sold one car, then first in first out will say that whichever is the first one, that is what you have sold, it will be considered. What will it be considered? It will be considered that whichever has come first, that is going to be sold first. The first one is in, that is going to go out first, and therefore what we have sold is at 8 only. I would have sold for 20, right? But what is the method that I am now using? I am using FIFO. If I was using specific identification, I would have marked 10, but I am not using specific identification, I am using FIFO, and therefore FIFO says that 8 has gone out. You have sold 8, which means in your P&L 20 is going to be the sales, your COGS is going to be 8. Just see your profits, it is more. Last time our COGS was 10 and therefore the profit was 10. Now our COGS is 8 and now your profit is what? 12. And the inventory is going to be what? 30 is going to be the inventory. This is what your first in first out is. The third number that we are going to look at, the method, is going to be last in first out. LIFO, last, the one who comes last is going to be the first one to go out. Last in first out, which means say for example you purchased or you produced the car at 8, then at 9, then at 10 and then at 11. Now when you have purchased all the 4 of them, after that say for example you sold a car, the car that you sold for 20, okay, selling price is going to remain the same. The method that we are using at the back end in our offices behind, that is what is going to give us different P&L numbers. My sale is at 20, but what is the cost of that goods that I have sold at 20? Last in first out, this is the last one to come in and therefore this is the first one to go out. My COGS instead of 8 in the P&L is going to be 11, correct, and my inventory value is going to be 27. This is what remains over here. Understood how all the 3 of them are giving different results, right? So this is your last in first out. Just see over here, when can you see there is inflation over here? See, the prices of the goods are kept on rising. What is inflation? When the goods prices keep on increasing, okay, be it metal or agricultural produce or whatever, crude oil, whatever, okay. When the prices keeps on increasing, we say there is inflation in the market, and over here also don't we see that there is inflation? The price was 8, 9, 10, 11, just see there is inflation. And what happens in inflation is, when we were using FIFO method, in FIFO method your profits were very high, right? In FIFO method we had used first in was first out, this 8 was going out first, and therefore your profits were what? 12 was your profits, and therefore you had to pay a tax on 12. If 30% is the tax rate, 3.6 is what the tax you had to pay when you were using FIFO, correct? Same thing, okay, no change in the cash flows. The company has produced the goods over here at 8, 9, 10, 11 and the company is selling 1 unit at 20. This is what it is, right? Correct? This is not changing. Now the methods are changing from our back end. If I was using FIFO, then I had to pay a tax of 3.6. If I am using LIFO, last in first out, then my COGS is not going to be 8, it is going to be 11, right? And therefore the profits are going to be only 9, and on 9 30% comes to a tax rate of 2.7. Just see, just sitting like that I have saved my tax. At least right now I am not paying. What I will be paying in future is a different thing. Also time value of money will take care of it also. So, right now I am not paying much tax, right now I am saving my tax, right, and this is what US GAAP is doing. US GAAP knows that on a long term basis there is going to be inflation in the country, right. Countries like few Norwegian companies, or all of these Norway, Denmark, and those countries over there, they Netherlands maybe, I guess these companies are not exactly in deflation, but 0% is the inflation over there. Even Japan is having zero inflation or maybe deflation sometimes and so on, and they face their own challenges when there is deflation in a country. So, deflation is not good, even excessive inflation is not good, there has to be a balance. Obviously, deflation is not good at all, excessive inflation is not good, but a normal level of inflation is required. And therefore, when people in US know that yes, there is going to be inflation in the country and it is good, the prices should keep on increasing, right, only then you make profits and stuff, right. So, prices keeps on increasing, inflation is definitely going to be there. Now, what is the method that they should use so that currently the tax payment is going to be lower, and that is why they come up with a LIFO method, because of which in LIFO the COGS is higher, at least when there is inflation period. If there is deflation, we will see okay what happens in deflation, but in inflation what is happening over here? When they are using LIFO, there is a lower COGS. Obviously, the inventory valuation will be the COGS is higher in LIFO, okay, during inflationary period the COGS is higher, the inventory value is lower, and as the COGS is higher, the profits are lower in LIFO. And when the profits are lower in LIFO, they will be paying lesser tax as well, and that is why US is allowing LIFO method. Yes, IFRS does not allow LIFO method, is a different thing, it is a different concept altogether. Understood what is the rationale behind US GAAP allowing LIFO and what implication it has on the COGS and the profits of the company, right. Usually when there is inflationary period, like most of the time there is going to be inflationary period only in the country, okay, out of 100 years, 95 to 98 years there is going to be inflation, until and unless there is a huge deflation, right. There was a great depression of 1930, or maybe subprime, even in subprime crisis there was no deflation, instead there was a heavy inflation, there was excessive inflation, right. But say for example during Great Depression there was a huge after the World War I completed, and there was excessive metals that had been produced, there was scrap, and there was so much of depression around, because there were so many items that they had produced during the times of war which were utilized, and suddenly when the war gets finished, then where is all the goods that has been produced going to be used, right. So, that inflow of goods is going to be there in the normal market, and that is going to reduce the prices. If the prices reduce, then what is going to happen is there is going to be deflation all over. Now, in deflation we will see how COGS and inventory for LIFO is going to be different for everyone, right. This is what we will be seeing in deflation. First, let us go ahead with inflation only, what is happening. Yeah, the next one that we are going to do is weighted average cost method. In a weighted average cost method, what happens is when you are selling, you are going to find weighted average. Every time you sell, you will be finding a new weighted average of that particular average, okay, whatever the goods are. There are 4 units, and this is total 20, 38, so 9.5, right. 9.5 is the cost per unit, okay. You are selling one good at 20, correct, and therefore the price of that is the COGS is going to be 9.5, right, because that is the weighted average cost that you have taken of all the 4 goods together. Now, 9.5 is the goods COGS, the inventory value will be 9.5 into 3, so 9.5 into 3 is 28.5. So, inventory value is going to be 28.5. What is the profit over here? The profit over here is 10.5. So, always weighted average cost is going to be between FIFO and LIFO, okay. Never it will go below FIFO or above LIFO or anything like that. Okay. Weighted average cost method, the COGS and inventory levels are going to be between the FIFO and LIFO. Remember, in FIFO we had COGS of 8, in LIFO we had COGS of 11, and over here we are having a COGS of 9.5, which is in between. Okay. This is what our weighted average method is. Remember, what we did over here is we have taken inflation, and in inflation what happens is that FIFO is going to have a COGS of 8, in LIFO the COGS is going to be 11, and therefore profits under LIFO over here, the profits are going to be lower in inflationary times. Okay. And in FIFO the profits are going to be higher. Obviously the tax payment over here is going to be higher in FIFO. Shall we go ahead with the deflation? Let us see in deflation, and we will do a little bit in detail as well. Okay. Say for example, there is deflation in the country, you produce one goods at 12, the next at 11, the next at these are 1 units only. Okay. These are 1 units only, let me not write anything, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, this is what your goods that have been produced. Now if you are using specific identification, very good, you will be selling only the specific identified. If you are using weighted average method, you will have to take a weighted average of all of them. Okay, 5 goods, and what is the price of this? 10, 20, 30, 30 divided by 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 50 divided by 5, sorry, 10, 10, yeah, this is going to be the average obviously. So 10 is going to be the average of the goods. So specific identification and weighted average cost method, we know this is, it is very simple. What happens in LIFO and FIFO is what we are going to see. First, coming to FIFO, first in is going to be first out. So in COGS, if say for example you sell 2 goods, then FIFO is going to go this, first 2 are going to go away. In your P&L, the cost of goods sold is going to be 23. If the 2 goods that you sell is for $20 each, then 40 is going to be your sales price. In your FIFO, COGS is going to be 23 and profit is going to be 17. Now what in LIFO? In LIFO what is going to happen is last in first out. So last, these 2 have been in, and therefore your COGS is going to be what? You are going to sell for 40 only, but your COGS is going to be 17, and therefore your profit is what? 23. This is what happens in deflation. Remember, this is deflation, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. This is what your production cost is, which means your cost is going down. Cost of production is going down. Why? Because there is deflation in the market. The raw materials that you brought next time to produce these goods were very cheap, right? This is what your deflation is. So always remember one thing, you don't have to do anything else. You need to just understand the concept. The concept that you do right now is very important. So understand, concept is very, very important. You need to understand only one particular thing, okay, either inflation or deflation. If you listen to me, okay, like I used to always take inflation in my mind and then calculate on my own. Also, you should always write this down on the side of the piece of your paper. Don't do everything in your mind, okay. I want you to pick up the pen and write down. If say for example a question comes in examination as to whatever XYZ would be the question, what do you have to do? You have to simply do, just it will take hardly 15 seconds it will take. You will have to write down, maybe if it is inflation or deflation, if it is specifically mentioned, you do that. If nothing is mentioned, it is a generic question, then simply put in your mind 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is the inflation. Now in inflation, if you are using FIFO, then this is what is going to go out, this will become your COGS, COGS is 17. And if it is deflation, say for example, then I will be taking 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. In deflation my COGS will be 23, right. Okay. In case this is deflation and this is inflation. Now if say for example we are not using FIFO, we are using LIFO, then in LIFO 23 will be your COGS in inflation, and in deflation 17 is going to be your amount of COGS. Now only one thing you need to do in examination. In examination you will have to use only one thing, just use inflation 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and whatever you want to do, whatever is the 3 units you are selling, just as an example you can do this 2 units. This is my COGS, or if you are using LIFO, then this is going to be your COGS, correct. This is what you need to do. It will just take 2 seconds to write 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then the just putting, if it is a LIFO, then you will be putting 11 and 12 as a cancelled which goes out, which is COGS, and the rest is inventory, right. And if it is FIFO, then this is going to be the COGS and this is what is going to be your inventory, correct. So, it will just take 2 seconds for you all. Remember, inflation and deflation is very important. Along with that, there will be one more twist, there will be FIFO and LIFO. So, you just need to remember one thing in mind. The thing that we have taken up over here is inflation. If I ask you that there is inflation, then you will have to write 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do not write down 12, 10, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, that is deflation. So, if it is inflation, write 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If it is FIFO, then first is going to go out, LIFO, last 2 are going to go out, correct. So, this is what we have learned. It is very important, okay. We have spent a significant amount of time for this simple one, but remember, I know students make silly mistakes even in these simple questions. I do not want you all to make silly mistakes. Remember guys, there will be many questions which you will genuinely not be knowing it. Those will be difficult questions. No one ever would have got 100% right in CFA exams. They definitely do not know something or the other. Now, if you make mistakes, forget about those questions, you are going to make mistakes over there. If you are unlucky, you will get wrong questions over there, but at least the ones that you know, do not make silly mistakes in that, otherwise you will be left with nothing. So, do not make any silly mistakes, so that at least you are ahead of others, because many others would be making silly mistakes. This being a professional exam, you have to remain ahead of others, and therefore do not make any silly mistake. People make silly mistakes in such very simple questions, okay. I hope everyone has understood. Now we will move ahead. We have done this thing, inflation and deflation explanation for FIFO and LIFO. Remember, weighted average cost method is always going to be between FIFO and LIFO, okay. Between that is going to be weighted average cost method, right. Now we will move ahead. What are the implication on the ratios, okay. Now very important thing, this should be fit in your mind. You only have to write down 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in this side. If it is inflation, then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If it is FIFO, then this goes out as COGS, which is 17. You only need to know one particular thing. In inflation, if FIFO is being used, then what the thing is, rest is going to be opposite. So, in inflation, instead of FIFO, if you are using LIFO, all are going to be opposite. And if FIFO that you are using during inflation, then during deflation, FIFO will be again different. See, it is going to be opposite only always. This is what we have to do. So, only remember one particular thing, inflation and FIFO is going to be equal to deflation and LIFO, correct. But anyways, know only one thing. Right now we are also going to focus on only one particular thing, rest of the things are going to follow, which are just going to be opposite. So, just focus on inflation and FIFO, okay. Current ratio, okay, let us write down current ratio 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Your COGS is 17, which is your COGS, and inventory is 33, okay. Just listen over here, what happens in LIFO and what happens in inflation and FIFO. This is in comparison to the other thing that you are not using. Say for example, you are using LIFO. In comparison to that, if you are using inflation FIFO, then what is it going to be? Current assets. Current assets is current ratio. Current ratio is current assets upon current liabilities. Current assets include inventory. Inventory is a part of current assets, right? And therefore, current ratio, if inventory is a part of it, remember, while you are doing FIFO and there is inflation, okay, while you are doing FIFO, your inventory is 33. Remember, if it was deflation, or say for example, if it was LIFO, then your inventory would be a part of 8, 9 and 10, then your inventory would be what? 10 plus 9, 19, 19 plus 8, 27 would have been inventory. Just remember, if we had used LIFO, then inventory would have been 27, and now we are using what? FIFO. If you are using FIFO, current assets is higher. If current assets is higher, then current ratio is also going to be higher over here. So if you are using inflation and you are using, if there is inflation in the market and you are using FIFO, then your current ratio is going to be higher. Higher than what? Higher than what you would have used opposite. Say for example, if you would have used LIFO, then your current ratio would have been lower. Correct? Okay. Same way, same fashion, we are now going to do all the other ratios. I hope you all have understood everything. Now we will go ahead with the next ratio. Okay, it says inventory turnover. What is the value? What is inventory turnover? Inventory turnover is COGS upon average inventory. COGS upon average inventory. COGS in FIFO during inflation is lesser. In LIFO, the COGS would have been what? 23. Correct? It would have been 23. I had taken correctly 23. Okay, so that is it. Okay, so COGS as per FIFO is 17 and as per LIFO it would have been 23. Now you are using what? You are using, we are using FIFO right now. So in FIFO, if COGS is lower and thus average inventory is higher, this is going to have lower inventory turnover. What happens in LIFO is COGS is higher, average inventory is lower, and therefore it has a lower, a higher impact on the, this is going to be higher impact during the LIFO. This is what is your FIFO. So this is what happens in your FIFO. You will have a lower inventory turnover and a higher for LIFO. Correct? Okay. Now let us move ahead. We will go a little bit faster because now we have understood what we are doing. Correct? The gross profit ratio. The gross profit ratio, COGS is lower in FIFO and therefore the GP ratio, the gross profit margins are going to be higher over here in FIFO. Cash flow from operations to net sales. Remember, if the COGS is lower over here, profits are higher over here, then taxes are also going to be higher. If the taxes are going to be higher, then cash flow from operations are going to be lower, and cash flow from operations which are going to be lower is going to have a lower impact, which is cash flow from operations to net sales, that will also be lower. The ratio is going to be lower. Correct? Inventory holding period. What is inventory holding period? 365 upon average or inventory turnover. Inventory turnover is low over here and therefore average inventory holding period is going to be higher. So this is what we have written. If inventory turnover is low, definitely inventory holding period is going to be higher. And the next one is debt to equity. Debt to equity. Now what is debt to equity? Total debt upon equity. So debt upon equity. It says debt upon equity is lower when the equity is higher. Why is the equity higher? Because you have saved tax. No, equity is higher because the COGS was significantly lower. It was just 17 in FIFO COGS and therefore profits were higher. If the profits were higher, it is going to have a higher equity base. The equity is going to be higher, and if the equity is higher, then debt to equity ratio is going to be lower over here. Okay? And obviously we have used so many times, as the profit is higher, taxes are also going to be higher. These are the different ratios that we need to remember. These should be on your fingertip. Even if you do not have on your fingertip, you can just simply write down immediately 9, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Your COGS is going to be 17, otherwise your COGS would have been 23 in LIFO, and in FIFO it is 17. This is your COGS. And now whatever they are asking, if they are asking GP ratio, then you can just calculate the ratio in your mind, correct, and you can get the answer whether this will be high or low. GP ratio is going to be high because FIFO there is a COGS of 17 which is lower and therefore the profits are higher. Obviously tax are also going to be higher, but GP ratio is also going to be higher, correct. I hope everyone have understood this particular whole thing, right. The ratios, it is very important. Now accounting system, again an important thing, just from the understanding perspective, periodic accounting and perpetual accounting, which means periodic and perpetual accounting. Periodic accounting means COGS and inventory calculation is done only once, that is at the end of the accounting period, and perpetual accounting means every now and then whenever you make a sales, at that point of time you are going to calculate COGS and inventory of the companies. So COGS and inventory calculation is done after every sale. After every sale you are going to do COGS and inventory calculation. Periodic means at the end of 1 year you will be doing the calculation of COGS and inventory. So what does it mean? Say for example, you have produced 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16, then the price remains constant. This is what you have produced, okay. During the whole year, are there 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, exactly 12. Okay. So during the 12 months you have produced these many goods, okay. Daily, every month you produce only 1 goods, okay, and you have sold total 7 goods. You have sold 1 in February, you have sold 1 in March, you have sold 2 in this month, you have sold another 3 in this month. This is how you have sold. If you are using specific identification, well and good, that is fine. If you are using FIFO, then also it is good, like say for example, you are using periodic, means after 1 year gets completed, then you are going to just make this particular 8 to 9, 10 to till 16 that you are going to make the production cost, and then 7 units that you are going to remove out is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is periodic, which means at the end of 1 year you are going to calculate how many goods you have sold, and accordingly, being FIFO, you will just take from the beginning and just remove out the first 7. Well, if it was FIFO, then you would have removed this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 7 that you would have removed in your LIFO. Okay, in your LIFO, these are the 7 that you would have removed in the end. Okay, this is what we are doing at 31st December 2000 and whatever the date is, at the midnight. Okay, at the midnight of 31st December you are going to do this particular activity. This is known as periodic. Okay, once you do, maybe at the end of the month or maybe at the end of the year, you are doing this particular activity. This is known as periodic. Now remember what happens in perpetual. Perpetual means every time you make a sale, you are going to keep on counting what is my COGS, what has been my inventory. This is what happens in 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16, 16, 16. Okay. Now you are doing perpetual. Perpetual means, say for example, you are using FIFO, right. In your FIFO, say for example, you produced, say for example, you have produced 2 units, then you sold 1 unit, and therefore FIFO, this will go away. So you recognized 8 in your COGS and 9 in your inventory, just as an example. So 8 is your COGS. Then you produced 1 unit and then you sold 1 of them, right. This is where you have sold the other part, right. You have sold 1. So this 9 also, first in first out. Out of these 3, now only this is remaining, the first that is in. Then you produce 11, 12, 13, 14, then you sold 2 more units. So this goes out, this is FIFO. Then you produce 15, 16, 16, then you sold over here, right, 4 units or 3 units, this goes out. This is what your FIFO. Is the FIFO same? Whatever we did over here, the COGS, is it same over here? Yes, even 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 or up to 14 was your COGS, even over here the same COGS is there. But now the crux comes over here in LIFO. Just see what happens in LIFO when you are using perpetual method. Okay, we are using perpetual method, means every time we make a sale we are going to recognize the COGS. Okay, so what is happening over here, just see, you produce 8 and 9, that is in the month of Jan and Feb you produced. On the last day of Feb you sold one particular item, right, you sold over here one item, and last in first out, so this goes away. Then you produced one item, then you sold again, so last in first out, the first one still remains. Okay, your COGS is this, then 11, 12, 13 and 14 is what you produced, and then you sold 2 units over here, so last in first out, this goes away. Then you did 15, 16, 16, 16, okay, you produced these many, and then over here you sold 3 units, so this also goes away, then 16 and 16. So just remember, in your LIFO when you were using periodic method, these were your COGS, but when you are using perpetual method, and LIFO, then there is going to be your COGS will include 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16 and 16. This is what your total COGS is going to be, and therefore this is what we say, that if you are using FIFO and specific identification, then whether you use periodic or perpetual, both are going to give you same results. The first one is only going to go out, right, and specific identification is very simple, whichever you have specifically identified that only goes out. But in LIFO it is going to give you different results which accounting system you are using. If you are using periodic accounting system, that will give you a different answer. All the lower strata ones in LIFO is going to go out, okay, or weighted average, the final weighted monthly weighted average of the whole year, that weighted average is going to be going out in your LIFO when you are using periodic method. But when you are using perpetual method, it becomes very haphazard. The LIFO that you use is going to become very haphazard. The way we saw, it became so haphazard. There was 9, there was 10, then there was some 13, 14, 15, 16, you know, all of those were coming. In between 8, 10 and all were not there in your COGS, right. So this is what happens in your LIFO and weighted average. It gives different result based on which system are you using. Are you using periodic system or perpetual system, correct. So this is what you need to remember, that LIFO and weighted average is going to give you different results based on which accounting system you are using. Fine, we will move ahead. Changes in accounting policy. Now remember, LIFO is something which is used only in US, which is US GAAP, okay, not just in US. If someone in US is using IFRS, then we can't stop them, okay. IFRS can be used anywhere. When I mean people staying in US, it means people who are using US GAAP, okay, not necessary that they will compulsorily have to use US GAAP only, it is not like that, okay. Okay, so if someone is using US GAAP, okay, so they are using LIFO, that is the reason they would have accepted US GAAP as well. Understand, changes in accounting policy, if there is a change in accounting policy, there is going to be retrospective impact, correct. We know that if there is a change in accounting policy or accounting principle, there is going to be retrospective impact. If there is a change in accounting estimate, then there is going to be prospective impact. Now there is a little bit of twist that you will have to bring in your mind, okay. When you are changing from LIFO to FIFO, okay, there is going to be a retrospective impact the way normally it is, okay. You are going from LIFO to FIFO, it is a good thing. So changes in accounting policy says that there has to be retrospective impact, yes, you give retrospective impact. But if say for example you are moving from FIFO to LIFO, remember FIFO is something that so many of the countries are using it, IFRS is using it, IFRS is used in so many countries, right. So FIFO is something which is good. LIFO is something which only one country is using, which is US, that is your US GAAP, right, and therefore we consider this is something bad thing, okay. It is not bad as such, I am just giving you a perspective as to how it will fit in your mind, okay. So when I speak like this, you will understand this very well. So FIFO is something which is very good, LIFO is something which is very bad. So when you are turning from bad to, when you are turning from good to bad, you were already using FIFO, now you are turning to LIFO, there is no need to change the history, okay, because that was anyways good. From henceforth you are turning LIFO, which is into bad thing, therefore you just give prospective impact, no need to give retrospective impact because you are already doing good previously. Yeah, when you are turning from LIFO to FIFO, you are turning from bad to good, so you will have to give retrospective impact, that is right from the beginning if you would have been using then, right. Obviously, because you are turning from bad to good, you will be proud when you show your FIFO books to the world, right. But if you are turning from FIFO to LIFO, you should be shy of showing your books to people right in the market, right, and therefore do not give retrospective impact, give only prospective impact, correct, because anyways you are doing something bad thing, then why to change the previous year results which were correctly shown in a better manner, right. This is what you can remember, okay. So no need to by heart, you can immediately remember what I have said right now. Just PS that I want to just a note, there is nothing like good or bad, okay, in FIFO or LIFO and that US GAAP, nothing is bad. Just for your understanding purposes, I am using all of these hypothetical situations and stuffs, okay. I hope when I use hypothetical situation, you are able to understand things very well, it goes into your mind directly, right, and this is what you also have to do while you are studying at home or while you are at your examination center. Things so hypothetical that you immediately come to know that no, this should be the wrong thing, this should only be the right thing, right, because it comes directly in your eyes, it is so optical, you come to know that when you use hypothetical things, you understand that this is completely wrong and that is completely right, right, this is what happens. Okay. One small mention, let me go to the ratios part, okay. In the ratios, which is the one that is when there is inflation in the market, if there is inflation in the market, then whether FIFO method is aggressive accounting or LIFO method is aggressive accounting. So what are you going to see? Aggressive and conservative is on the basis of the profits. If you are preponing your profits, if you are preponing your revenues, okay, and when you are deferring the expenses, this means you are aggressive, you want to show profits right now, okay, you are not conservative, you are daring, you are having a dare, okay, with you, and therefore you are showing excessive profits right now. We will see what happens in the future, right. So that is what aggressive is. Who is going to have more profits? More profits are with them, right, and therefore FIFO during inflation is aggressive accounting. I hope you all know what is aggressive and conservative now, we have done so many times this particular thing. Conservative is when you are very afraid whether you will be able to make profits or not in the future, okay, you do not have so much of self confidence and therefore you are preponing all the expenses, but you are very afraid to take the profits right now or book the income right now, you would try to defer all the incomes and profits. This is conservative accounting, right, and therefore lesser profits right now, and therefore LIFO during inflationary period is known as conservative accounting, correct. Understanding what we have done, this is how you need to think.